Hello, welcome to part 2 of My Sister's Got a Spoon Up Her Nose. Now, we left our new story having discovered how the girl got a spoon up her nose and what the family were doing about it. And part of what the family were doing about it was having her brother trying to copy her. And they were all rather worried about it. Do you remember? Cheese didn't manage to get the teaspoon in his nose, so he started trying to poke it out his ear instead. What is it with this family? Asked Mum. Can't you do anything sensible? Just think for a few moments, would you? How can we get this spoon out? Ron, you remember when you couldn't get your ring off? We smeared washing up liquid around it and it slid off easily. I think washing up liquid in a nose might sting though. We need something else that's slippery. A fish? Suggested Dad. I don't think Daddy's taking this very seriously, do you? Mum fixed him with a steely glare. How do you think Mum's feeling if she fixed him with a steely glare? You want me to put a fish up Tomato's nose as well as a spoon? It's something slippery, Dad said, but I had a much better idea. Cooking oil? Mum shook her head again. Tomato gave a little cry. She was getting upset. We all were. Why do you think the family's beginning to feel upset? Pause the video and have a chat with your adult at home about that. What did you decide about why the family's all getting a bit upset? Do you think it's because they're worried about how they can get the spoon out of Tomato's nose without hurting her? That would be my guess. Whispered Tomato with a tragic whimper. Cheese began crying too. Want spoon? He said, waving both hands at me. Gimme spoon! It's no good, said Mum. I can't see how we're going to do this by ourselves. We'll have to take her to the hospital. We piled into the car and Dad drove us to Casualty. Cheese and Tomato grizzled most of the way. That means they made little unhappy crying noises. And we got stuck in traffic. Dad opened his window and kept shouting, dee-doo, dee-doo, at the top of his voice every time he thought we were going too slowly. Why do you think Dad was making this noise out of the window? Do you think it was because he was trying to sound like he was an ambulance so that the cars in front would get out of his way? When we finally reached the hospital, Dad swept Tomato into his arms and bounded into the building. Emergency! He shouted, plonking Tomato on the reception desk. Oh dear, said the nurse. It's not difficult to see what's wrong here. Can you get the spoon out? Asked Dad anxiously. Oh yes, no problem. Let me take some details first. What's the baby's name? Tomato. Mum sighed and elbowed Dad out of the way. Her name's Rebecca. Her friends call her Tomato, smiled Dad. Spoo, murmured Tomato, gazing up at the nurse. Aren't you lovely? Cooed the nurse. Not with a spoon up her nose, she isn't, Dad pointed out. Would you marry a girl like this? Just ignore my husband, said Mum. He's a very strange man. That may be so, agreed Dad. But I am not nearly as strange as that man over there. Dad pointed to the corner of the waiting room. Guess who was there? Our neighbour, Mr. Tugg, the one who does volcano impressions and explodes with anger every 5 minutes. Mr. Tugg was standing there reading a newspaper. He appeared to be completely jammed inside something long and thin. It jutted out in front of him and it poked out behind. He couldn't turn round in case he hit someone with it. He couldn't sit down because it got in the way of everything. All Mr. Tugg could do was stand there and look a bit daft, Because do you know what he had got himself stuck in? It was a long metal stepladder. How on earth had he managed that? Are you visualising that? Are you picturing in your head a man stuck inside a long metal stepladder? Remember, it juts out in front of him and it pokes out behind. He can't turn around in case he hits someone with it, and he can't sit down because it gets in the way of everything. I've got a very funny picture in my head of a man stuck in a stepladder. Are you picturing it too? Okay. 2 questions for you today. And of course, I would like full sentence answers from you. The first question is, tell me what you think of Dad. So how could your answer begin? It's a thinking question. So perhaps it could be, I think that, and then how would you continue it? Remember that we're talking about Dad, so you'll need to mention him in your answer. So it's, tell me what you think of Dad. Question 2, how do you think Mr. Tug, the neighbour, got stuck in the stepladder? It's just a guess. It's not a fact. We haven't found out in the story. I'm finding, although I can picture him in my head, I can visualise him stuck in the stepladder, I'm finding it hard to imagine how it could have happened. So what do you think? How do you think Mr. Tug got stuck in the stepladder? And I would like a full sentence answer to that question as well, please. I look forward to hearing your ideas. Thank you very much. Bye for now.